On a foggy night, you're bound to meet just about anybody, just random strangers passing in the night. But what if some of these people were from somewhere else? For a Foggy Night by Larry Niven. Read by Karl. The bar was selling a lot of Irish coffee that night. I bought two myself. It was warm inside, almost too warm, except when someone pushed through the door. Then a puff of chill, damp fog would roll in. Beyond the window was grey chaos. The fog picked up all the various city lights, yellow light leaking from inside the bar, passing automobile headlights, white light from frosted street globes, and the rainbow colors of neon signs. The fog stirred all the lights together with a cold, grey-white paste and leaked it back to the windows. Bright lights drifted past at a pedestrian's pace. Cars. I felt sorry for the drivers. Rolling through a grey, formless limbo, running from street globe to invisible street globe, alert for the abrupt, dangerous red dot of a traffic light intersection. Couldn't tell otherwise. I had friends in San Francisco, other places I could be, but it wasn't my city. I'd be damned if I drive tonight. A lost night. Finished my drink. One more and I crossed the street to my hotel. You best wait until the fog thins out, said the man next to me. He was a stranger, medium and over, medium height and weight, regular features, manicured nails, feathery brown hair, no scars. The invisible man. Never looked this way if he hadn't spoken, but he was smiling as if he knew me. I said, "Sorry?" "The point is, your hotel might not be here when you cross the street." "Don't be surprised," he added. "I can read minds. We've learned the knack where I come from." There are easy ways to interrupt a conversation with a stranger. A blank stare will do it. But I was bored and alone, and a vacuum conversation might be just what I needed. I said, "Why should my hotel be exactly where I left it?" He frowned into his scotch and soda and took a swallow. "Do you know this area of multiple world lines? See, whenever a decision is made, it's made both ways. The world becomes two or more worlds, and for each way the decision can go." "I see, you know of it." "Well, sometimes the world lines merge again." "But that's exactly right. The world must spin on the order of 1,000,000,000,000 times a second. What's so unbelievable about that?" If you want a real active physicist about fur-coated particles. "But you're saying it's real. Every time I get a haircut, one of you waits till tomorrow," said the brown-haired man. "One of you keeps the sideburns. One gets a manicure, one cuts his own nails. The size of the tip varies too. Each of you is real as the next, and each belongs to a different world line. Wouldn't matter if the world lines didn't merge every so often." "Uh-huh," I grinned at him. "What about my hotel?" "I'll show you." Look through that window. To see the street lamp? Vaguely. You bet vaguely. San Francisco is a town with an active history. The world lines are constantly merging. What you're looking at is the possibility of a street lamp being in a particular place. Looks like a big fuzzy ball, doesn't it? That's the locus of points where a bulb might be, or a gas flame. Greatest probability density is in the center, where it glows brightest. I don't get it. When the world lines merge, everything blurs. The further away something is, the more blurred it looks. I shouldn't say looks, because the blurring is real. It's no illusion. Can you see your hotel from here? I looked out the appropriate window and I couldn't. 2 hours ago I knew I lost my way just crossing the street. Tonight, a man could lose himself in any city street and wander blindly in circles in hopes of finding a curb. You see, your hotel's too far away. In the chaos out there, the probability of your hotel being anywhere specific is too small to see. Vanishingly small. You'd never make it. Something about the way he talked. I wondered when you noticed that. He smiled as if we shared a secret. "All this time," I said, "I've been thinking you talk just like everyone else. But you don't. It's not just a trace of accent. Other people don't say probability density or theorem or on the order of. No, they don't." "Then we must both be mathematicians," I smiled back at him. "No," he said. But I walked away from the problem, or from the answer. "My glass is empty. Could you use a refill?" "Thanks, I could." I fixed it with the bartender. "Funny thing," I told the brown-haired man. "I always thought the burning effect of fogs came from water droplets in the air." "Bosh," he said. "Bosh and tish. The water's there all right whenever the fog rolls in. I can't explain it. Condensation must be a side effect for the burning of the world lines. But that's not interfering with your vision. Water's transparent." "Of course. How can I have forgotten that?" "I forgot it myself a long time ago. The Scotch was beginning to reach him, I think. He had an accent. Was growing stronger. That's why I'm here. That's why I stopped you. Because you'd remember." The bartender brought us our drinks. His big shoulders were hunched inward against the damp gray light that seeped on the windows. I sipped at the burning hot glass. Irish whiskey and strong black coffee poured warmth through me to contract the gold playing on the walls. The customer departed and the fox swirled around him and swallowed him. I walked in the fog one afternoon, said the brown-haired man. The fog was thick like tonight. A cubic mile of cotton, as we say. I was just going out for a pouch of snuff. When I reached the tobacconist, he tried to sell me a bundle of brown paper sticks with a Spanish trademark. Uh-huh. What'd you do? Tried to get home, of course. Things changed oddly while I wandered in the fog. When it cleared and left me stranded, even my money was no good. The worst of it was I couldn't even tell my story. Nobody could read my mind to see if I was sane. It was to find another fat fog bank or try to make life for myself. With no money? Oh, I sold my ring and found a poker game. Oh? Oh! That was a year ago. It's worked out well enough. Thought I might invent something like the zipper, but that fell through. You're far ahead of us in the physical sciences. But money's no problem. Sometimes it's a fixed horse race. Sometimes I find a poker game or a crooked craps game where they let me bet the right way. Sounds great. Not very honest, I thought. You disapprove? My companion's voice had gone thin and cold. I didn't say that. I compensate for what I take, the brown-haired man said angrily. I know how to untwist a sick man's mind. If a player sits down with emotional problems, I can help him. If he really needs the money, I can see it comes to him. Why don't you become a psychiatrist? He shook his head. It would take years, and I've never been able to hold a patient long enough to do myself any good. You get well too fast. Besides that, I hate certain people. I'd want to harm them instead of helping them. Anyway, I don't go out in the fog anymore. I like it here. I only stopped you because you're one of those who remember. You said it before. What exactly? After all, people are constantly walking into fogs. Why is it that we don't hear more about people warning from alternate world lines? It's because their memories adjust. Ah. Got it happening once. Girl from somewhere else. Didn't catch the details. They faded too fast. I got her a job as a go-go dancer. I think she was a pride concubine of someone's harem before she ran into the fog. Their memories adjust. They forget their friends, their relatives, their husbands and wives in the old world line. They remember what man is king or president or chairman in the new. But not us. You and I are different. I can recognize the rare ones because you can read minds, sarcastically. Part of me still disbelieved, yet it fit too well. The brown-haired man talked like a mathematics professor because he was talking to me. And I was a mathematics professor and he was reading my mind. Looked thoughtfully into his glass. It's funny how many sense the truth. They won't walk or drive on the fog if they can help it. At the bottom of their minds, they know they might return home to find a Roman camp or a Druidic dancing ground or the center of a city or a sand dune. You know it yourself. The top of your mind thinks I'm an entertaining liar. The deepest part of you knew it all before I spoke. Just don't like fog, I said. Looked out the window towards my hotel, which was just across the street. I saw only wet chaos and a swirling emotion. Wait until it clears. Maybe I will. Refill? Thanks. Somehow I found myself doing most of the talking. The brown-haired man listened, nodded occasionally, asked questions from time to time. We did not mention fog. I need an ordered universe, I said at one point, or else would I have studied math? There was never an end of ambiguity in mathematics, whereas in interpersonal relationships, yes, exactly. But mathematics is a game. Abstract maths don't connect with the real universe except by coincidence or convergence. Like the originary number system. It's used in circuit design, but it certainly wasn't intended for that. No, of course not. That's why you never got married? Right, I said sadly. Ordered universe. Hey, I never do that, did I? No. The fog cleared about 1 o'clock. My brown-haired friend accompanied me out. Mathematics don't fit reality, he was saying, no more than the game of bridge. The real universe is chaotic. Like interpersonal relationships. Maybe you'll find them easier now. Like fog. Well, maybe I will. I know some new things about myself. Where's my hotel? There was no hotel across the street. Suddenly I was cold sober and cold scared. So, you must have lost it earlier. Was it foggy when you crossed? Thick as paste. Oh, brother, now what do I do? I think the fog started rolling again. Why not wait? The bar won't close until 4. They close at 2 in my world. In my world. Well, I admitted that. I made it real. Maybe you should stay in this one. Notice the bartender took your money. Which reminds me. Here. He handed me my wallet. He must have picked my pocket earlier. The service is rendered, he said. It looks like you'll need the money. I was too worried to be angry. My money passes, but my checks won't. I've got half a term of teaching to finish at Berkeley. Tenure. Damn it, I've got to get back. I'm going to run for it, said the brown-haired man. Try the fog if you like. You might find your way home. And off he went, running to beat the fog. It was drifting in great tunnels as I went back into the bar. An hour later, the fog was a cubic mile of cotton, as they say. I walked into it. I intended to circle the block where I left my hotel. There was no way to get my bearings, and the outlines of the block would not hold still. Sight was gone, sound was strangely altered and muffled. I walked blind and half deaf, with my arms outstretched to protect my face, treading lightly for fear of being tripped. One thing, at least, the brown-haired man had failed to warn me about. I walked up to a pedestrian-sized grey board that last directions, and when I reached it, it wasn't human. It watched me dispassionately as I sidled off. I might have drifted away from the area. The hotel varied from an ancient burrow to hot springs. I smelled warm, pungent steam. To a glass-sided skyscraper, to a vertical slab of black basalt, to an enormous pit with red glowing rock at the bottom. It never became a hotel. The mist was turning white with dawn. I heard something coming near, the put-put-put of a motor scooter, but distorted. Distorted to the clop-clop-clop of a horse's hooves, and still approaching. It became a pad, 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 the sound of something heavy and cat-like. I stood frozen. The fog grew clear, and the sound was two sets of footsteps, two oddly dressed men walking toward me. It was dawn, and the fog was gone, and I was stranded. In eerie silence, the men took me by the elbows, turned me about, and walked me in the building which had been my hotel. It had become a kind of hospital. At first it was very bad. The attendant spoke an unofficial language, very simple and unambiguous, like deaf-mute sign language. Until I learned it, I thought I'd been booked into a mental hospital. It was a retraining center for people who can't read minds. I was inside for a month and on outpay for 306. Great progress, they say, but I hadn't suffered organic brain damage. Most patients there because of damage to their right parietal lobe. It was no trouble to pay the hospital fees. I held patents on the pressure spray can and the butane lighter. Now I'm trying to design a stapler. And when the fog is a cubic mile of cotton, as we say, I stay put until it goes away. The end.